All right, welcome back to the Finding Truth podcast here on Unscripted Truth TV. Logan here with Austin on a fine Sunday night time, afternoon. It's night. No, it's night. Yeah, good show we have planned. We do plan on obviously covering the NASCAR race that took place this afternoon and going over some things that we saw post race, because I don't think we necessarily were keyed into the finish of that, the winner of that race. So we'll take a look at what we can glean from the finish of that race, and a couple of other things that have kind of connected the dots, as well as a couple of viewer comments and emails and things of that nature that are worth pointing out as well. And then just a capper will be like a little bit of a story that I think is flying under the radar, to do with the Catholic Church, and it's kind of getting lost in the mix with all of the, the ongoing Epstein. And then it's just like, no one said the word Epstein since Iran. So it's just like one word is taking over the mind of everybody at a time. I think that's one way they're able to sneak a lot of the other stories by you. But I kind of want to point something out, not even just for the nature of the story itself, which is, we've been here before, I guess you could say that, with the Catholic Church, but more so with kind of the idea of, because I've been working on trying to put not an expose, but like a project, not even a project, but a presentation, there we go, together on something. And it's been really hard. And I know we've talked about this with King Richard on the channel too, but they've changed the internet, and it's just like the way they can change things without people being able to pinpoint it. If there's not people like us to pinpoint these things, no one would have ever known. And if they did, it's not people that would go on and talk about it, because they don't. So, but yeah, there's been a fundamental change made to your ability to research things on the internet. And I think everybody knows the kind of the gist of it, but I kind of wanted to bring that up with a case in point attached at near the end of the show. And but yeah, with that all being said, I'll kick it down to everybody's favorite co-host, Austin. How's it going, bud?
Absolutely. Here we are on the big 3-8. I totally forgot it was a daylight savings time. I just found that out last night. I was set my alarm to get up, and I seen it was like an hour short. I'm like, that's the math's not right. Why does it say that? I'm like, what's going on? And I'm like, oh wait, is it daylight savings already? It's just like, man, I was looking like when that was. I thought it was like 2 weeks or a week or two out yet, and then I just realized it was today or last night or 2 in the morning, whenever they changed the time up or whatever. But yeah, we're in the longer daylight hours now, so it's basically about 3 months and 2 weeks. Then we'll have like our longest day of the year, where it's light out to like 10 o'clock. But yeah, it's that snuck up on me. It's crazy too. This week was weird too. Just like even like where I'm at, like all the frogs and like stuff just started coming out and like chirping, like literally on like March 1st or 2nd. They just like came out, and it's just like, man, we were just in February. It's like still winter, and they just popped out just like instantly on that day. It's crazy. And so it's like so many things happening, going on. Yeah, I know. I know last week we talked about that thing. I got into the wealth sharing thing a bit. I did have someone reach out to me on there as well. I think what we can do as well is I'll just probably have not just my email in there, but probably just put out my phone number too. Just for people that want to ever get a hold of me or text or call and stuff. I know I've been pretty busy lately, so I haven't really been around. Haven't really been following a lot of the videos and the chats and stuff, and just been super busy, working a lot, and just a lot going on. I know I said I was getting that bakery thing. I stopped at 12 bakeries yesterday, just kind of near around the gym, and I think I got at least 6 of them that said they were kind of interested in it. So we'll see who gets into that and what that's going to lead to, and that's going to be a big learning thing, and that's going to take a lot of time and stuff. So it's working on that and figuring that out. It's kind of also the next thing too to survive and make more money. That's kind of what I've been thinking about lately. It's just like it's crazy. It's like where are we going to be in like a year, the next few years? So I just keep thinking about it. It's just it's wild, just everything, and especially just like the things I remember like a year ago hearing, like especially like my job, with AI, taking over the like people driving people around and doing that kind of stuff, and that's that's going to be like a big thing popping up next year with all pretty much AI vehicles driving people around and stuff. It's like how long will pretty much all I did this week was just drive around and work and do stuff. So it's like how long? That's why I just keep thinking like how long is like where I'm living, my job, how long is this gonna last? Like how long is this gonna go? It's like I know I had to pay like $100 to do my certificate thing, and they told me I'm all like good to go too. And then like they're sending me stuff too, like they always send me those emails, those text messages stuff like, oh, you got so many days. Like I know Thursday was like my last day or whatever coming up. So, but I've already done it. So, should end up losing my job this week, but you never know. I mean, with the way things are and the way the world's going, it's just crazy. Even like, it's just, and like you were saying with the internet and things changing and things popping up and happen so fast too. It's just, it's kind of been this week. It's just, like even gas, like I know gas was like what 369, and then it was like 99, and then it was just kind of chilling there, and then it went up to like 425, then it went down to like back to 399. Now it's up to like 469. So now it's gone up like a whole dollar from where it was like a few weeks ago, a month ago, and it was at 369. Now it's at 469. It's like, where's it going to be in the next few weeks to a month? And then you got all these other things going on in the world and things happening, changing rapidly. Inflation through the roof, cost of living, just everything happening, starting all this stuff I'm in right now with, my wealth thing, and then trying to get this bakery thing going and having time for this and time for that. And like, on top of that too, like, I had a good workout today. I feel pretty good. I had a good workout Monday too. And I felt good. Like from like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, even yesterday, I was just like so tired. Like I couldn't sleep at all this week. Like I couldn't sleep Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I finally got back out running. I haven't ran since I got that cold. I got sick. I haven't ran since then. I haven't gone anywhere, haven't done anything. And it's just I just got back into that, and then and I haven't slept, so my back and muscles are all knotted and stuff, and so I've been working on that and getting that out and trying to get rest. And but yeah, it's crazy. Time's moving fast. There's so much going on. Life is rapidly expanding in a lot of directions. Like I said, it's hard to say. Like I just keep thinking about the next like few years. It's crazy. It's like I could be doing pretty well. Like maybe I'll be well off. Maybe I'll have lots of options. Maybe I won't even be here anymore. Maybe they have different plans. I'm just like, what? It's just I'm just sitting right now, just thinking like it's just so crazy. Here we are. Um, daylight savings. Spring is soon to come, April 1st, and here we're going to be another new year. Another year is going to be here, and there's just no saying where we're going to be. It's just right now with the things and just everything I'm doing and the way the time is moving. I mean, it's just it's flying so fast. It's been hard to even like this week. I haven't really had time to really make much notes, but there were some things I remember to talk about and some things I maybe forgot to talk about last week, or just kind of go over some things I was thinking about. And there's some interesting connections as well. So yeah, right now I'm trying to think if there's anything else I really wanted to say. I can't really think right now. There might be more I had on my mind or wanted to say and stuff. But yeah, it's just it's wild right now. Yeah, the mockery is just adding up every week. It's just at an all-time high, and like I said, they're adding to it every week. They're multiplying, and there's just so many signs like I'm seeing in life. Like things are just happening. People I'm talking to, things that are just kind of popping up, and then it's just like you just sit and you just wonder like what is the point of that, or where's this leading, or where's that going, or like where are you going to be, and are you on the right track? And you're just like looking at all these, am I doing the right thing, am I doing the wrong thing, is where's this going to go? It's like you're just reading all these signs you're getting in life. Like it's just all these signs right now I'm getting, and like all these things that are just happening, and it's just it's crazy. It's wild. Just like I said, just this fact that, what is this, already episode 77?
Yes,
We've been
sir.
on here almost a year and a half now, so we're crushing it. So another, I know, one thing I also forgot to mention last week too, that I actually remember when I got home, or I thought about when I got home, is we didn't talk about possibly Tyler Reddick going 4 for 5, which he very well has that opportunity to go 4 for 5 next week. But
Sure does.
there's gonna be a lot of interesting stuff with that race next week at Vegas. There's a lot of correlations we'll get into and talk about. But yeah, it was the Blaney show once again, going 2 in a row at Phoenix. Then we had Bell, who won that race last year. So the last 2 winners of Phoenix, finishing 1-2, kind of like last week. The 2 people we picked to win finished 1-2, and then the last 2 winners of Phoenix go 1-2. So 2 in a row for Blaney, and great day for Penske, although the other guys didn't get to finish because they DNF'd. But yeah, another very interesting race. Another race. Ginsburg wrecks multiple times, but still gets a good finish. So we'll see how that goes, how that plays out at Vegas. But yeah, it's the 4-5 streak really, and now Ty Gibbs did really well too in the 54. But I mean, that 4-5 streak really did continue with the Ryan Blaney being 4-5. Get the 45 in there, Ritual, and it's also interesting too because you had Reddick, he qualified 8th. He finished where he qualified 8th, and then you had the 3 wins. So that's what that'd be 3-8 on 3-8. So I kind of thought that was interesting too, what they kind of did with him for this one. And of course, Vegas is going to be on the Ides of March, and there's a lot to go over with Vegas, especially in light of with the Kurt Busch.
Speaking of, too, we had a correspondence with Joseph, who pointed out some things too. With he not only pointed out that it was here. Let me bring it up for people to see. Oh, I was already on it. Okay, they've updated it at this point. It wasn't updated earlier, but now it's updated. That was his 97th top 5 finish, which is quite interesting. If you've followed Austin's excellent work that he's been doing, even Illegal Smiles jumped in on it as well. But yeah, the 97 is not arbitrary, and they've been doing a lot of things post Greg Biffle and things of that nature, and a lot of things to track on it. But yeah, Austin's brought up a lot to do with it. But case in point is it's his got his 97 top 5 finish, and now that's Kyle Busch's winless streak at this point too is 97 races. So interesting going into Vegas, where is Busch City.
Yep.
So there's some narratives there. Joseph brought up that he can get his 4th win as well on the. I can't remember exactly what he said, but the 97th top 5 stood out to me for sure. I don't think that's arbitrary. And then what was the other thing about Blaney? I mean, obviously the repeat at Phoenix is I mean, if you guys haven't noticed yet, in just like the season and 4 races that we've covered, they thrive on this stuff. This is like part of building the overarching like theme of a character is like, if you think about certain NBA players, how they would own other cities. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm trying to think of an example necessarily, but like, I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about. Like, you'll have a guy own another team, or like another, whenever he goes to the Garden, he does like insane. Whenever he goes to wherever, but it's like that. It's that same kind of idea that these drivers are like, what's the word? A specialist on certain tracks that and they want, in order to prove that, you get these like repeat wins, which I was talking to you in the lead up, and it's just like it's got to be unlikely. I don't care how much. Even I could stay in the complete realm of like, don't even go into conspiracy. I feel like I could not dip into any kind of like conspiratorial talk, and still I would come out on top saying it is highly unlikely that anybody repeats on any track ever. Like it's completely everything is possible, but at the clip they do it, you'll start to see why, that they do it often, and they do it so that they can build this like character of, yeah. So it's just like Blaney being able to finish at Phoenix, or like looking at Gordon's career, he would dominate certain tracks and things of that nature, and it just adds to the like superhero superstar status of certain drivers, and things that they can always like. It's just a multifaceted way to use, because just like we've mentioned and pointed out and shown, what's so good about SVG last year is that we were able to, like, in real time explain why we knew he was winning. It's because we could see them building his character. We saw it from the ground up. We saw, like, okay, they're pushing this guy, and then from there we've talked about the potential for them to use this character to either win start winning on ovals, or potentially get taken out on a road course. And we just had that last week. So did I fail to mention that? Because that was something that I've been sitting on, because we talked about this last season. I'm like, what you guys need to watch is the guy who knocks him off a road course. And of course, it's a guy winning his third in a row. And so it's like, we need to be very careful about how boring of a season this might be. It could just be the Reddick takes it season. I'm not even kidding you. They might have already told us, and they're just like, are getting this season done with. Like, they're going to have their mid-season rituals and things of that nature, and it's going to be real chill for them, because they've already got it like pretty well planned out. And for the average fan, they're already okay with the fact that Reddick's come out and won 3 straight right after his boss had his birthday, and the blood moon on his birthday, and his boss, famous for three-peating and all the correlations and things of that nature. Sure, that's all going right past their head, and they're just like, they're already accepting it. So for this to be just, they do this in sports, guys. They do this all the time. More often than not, it is a boring season. It is something that's not like thrilling. They save the thrilling ones for like the ones that they're going to write like a documentary about. They're going to have a documentary about it. Last season was not a documentary season for Kyle Larson. And it looks like potentially this season, if there is a documentary, it'll be about Michael Jordan more than Tyler Reddick.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just so interesting how they're lining all this up. And next week to me is going to be real interesting as well, just because basically the whole season so far has kind of just been about Kurt Busch, basically, especially with them going to Vegas, and that's Kurt and Kyle's home and their home track. So I don't see how they're probably going to waste that. And what's so interesting too is, we could get the 4 for 5. Reddick could go 4 for 5. Maybe as Chevy hasn't won, so we could get maybe a Ginsburg win on an oval at Vegas. I wouldn't be shocked. And we see how they pay tribute to history. How deep the mocking goes. Like I've talked about already, how they have this stuff all lined up, ready to go before seasons ever begin. Like I said before, how when you had Kurt Busch win his first race there in 2002 at Bristol, you had 22 days before that, you had Chad Little. Kurt Busch takes over Chad Little's car. He takes over the 97, takes over the John Deere car, and then there you have Chad Little's last Busch race. Go figure, it's going to be at of course Vegas, where Kurt Busch is from. And then Kurt Busch 3 weeks later in a day, or 22 days later, is going to go on to win his first race in that 97. So it's interesting too. Another thing too, we were just talking about as well, that I was looking at, and I thought about last week, and I forgot to mention it as well. was the Sean O'Hare birthday as well, and because his birthday just passed last week, and when I was looking at that, and I forgot to mention it last week, I looked at his stuff briefly, see if they had anything new pop up, but I forgot to mention it because Kurt Cobain is exactly 4 years and 5 days older than Sean O'Hare, and of course Reddick equals, it's got the 55. Sean O'Hare just turned 55. He's in his 56 year of life, just coming off being 54. And what's interesting too is, because he was in wrestling, and last week you had Reddick, with the three-peat, and then he was in, or the week before, whether it was the week before or last week, where he was in wrestling at Raw, and that was in Atlanta, and Sean O'Hare is from Atlanta, so I thought that was a pretty clear ritual right there, what they did. This with that mockery. I mean, even we had the Chumba Casino car, and how that was the car, he won the 500 in, and then he won last week again in it. And then, of course, that was the car Bubba won the Brickyard in last year, that Chumba Casino car, and then just how they set all of that up, and then with the Raw and everything. So, I mean, to me, that was another clear ritual right there, what they did. Something I missed to mention last week, but I mean, and I know you talked about it too and pointed it out that, Reddick with the belt and everything, how they, all the mockery they put in right there. So another sign of them linking everything up between sports.
Just seeing if it potentially did a tribute. No, you're absolutely right. Let's see here. I guess I could have been going along with these so people could see what we're saying too. But yeah, if you guys aren't familiar, he wins the Daytona 500 as Austin said, and then he goes on to, for whatever reason, after this race, he in this race he races not in the Chumba Casino car. He raced in I knew it at one point. It's I've lost it. I guess I could look it up, but point being, I can speak as I look it up. He races in a completely different car. So he races Sunday. That very following day in Atlanta, he has his Chumba Casino car, and he takes that to Raw, where he's driving around with CM Punk and doing his spin out, his like it's a post win. This is being after Daytona, of course. Point being is, like, why would he have the Chumba Casino car there in Atlanta post race? Which we know why. It's because, two races later at Coda, he wins again in the Chumba Casino car. And like Austin astutely pointed out, is we missed that Sean O'Hare had just had his birthday anniversary. And of course, he's from Atlanta. So go figure, they do a wrestling tribute with that. So clear ritual there. And another thing that he pointed out was the Kurt Busch connection. And as we're looking it up, I just randomly asked him, like, who was the last full-time driver of the 97? And unless everybody, please, this is actually where you guys can come in hand, because like I said, it's crazy out here. If you guys have a better way of getting information, not only tell me, but I just tried to search it, and the first few searches I went through didn't really it didn't answer my question. So as far as I'm going off of this, the NASCAR historian website, showing that the last full-time driver, it has had a couple of drivers for like Xfinity and something and K&N series, but which was, I guess, the Cup Series names at that point. But point being is they only drove a couple races. But yeah, the last full-time driver in 184 races was Kurt Busch in the 97. And now the new 97 driver, Van Gisbergen, who is sitting pretty in the Cup standings, to be quite honest. He's sitting there at 5th, starting to do a lot better on ovals, top 10ing and stuff. he's going into Vegas where he's absolutely shit bricks. 3 races, averaging 32nd. So it's just like Catherine Leahy's got him beat here probably. But yeah, it'd be a real funny side story if everybody's focused on the Kyle Bushes and the 4554 connections and the Tyler Reddick news, that Shane just comes in here and just swoops one up and fulfills that, like, and so at that point, 5 races into the season, that narrative we were to point out would have already, we would be able to show that they're already using SVG for the exact thing that we said, that we talked about this, what, almost a year ago now. Like, this is when he was, on his streak on the road courses. We were talking about how their plans for him is to use him as a specialist and to either turn him into a superstar, which means he's going to start knocking off good drivers on the ovals, or oval drivers are going to start knocking him off on the road courses. And so far, we've had one. So if we get SVG, the other thing, let me finish my thought because I do that too much. If we get SVG winning in Vegas, in Busch City, where the last driver of the 97 just got entered into the Hall of Fame, that's a narrative right there. I'm not saying it's a block or anything, but it is an interesting narrative. And to add to that, I can only assume that if on any kind of bet slip, which we're not a betting channel or anything like that, but I can almost guarantee that come race time, he's going to probably be a decent bid, have decent money. I don't know how to say that correctly right now, but yeah, I'm sure you'd have a decent return if you were to pop a $5 on him or something like that. But anyway, yeah, so that just another weird looping narrative that we've been covering, and now all of a sudden, the possibility that they pay tribute to what I've mentioned last week, and then I just talked to you in the lead up that I need to pay attention to the history and the legacy of the car itself. And this could be that. This could be paying tribute to that 97, obviously paying tribute to Kurt Busch as well, being the most famous driver of it, or widely known, I think the most famous driver of it. And doing that with an SVG win here in his first season in the 97 could be just that in Vegas. So just something to think about, because I've gotten there's a lot of people keen on Kyle Busch and the 5-4-4-5 narrative this week. And guys, you weren't wrong. It's just that Ryan Blaney's name equals 45 and 54. And I don't think you would have been wrong if Reddick won it, which is the other favorite for this race. Look at his name, 54-45. So we've covered this too. We've talked about how Reddick name obviously matches his car, not only his car number, but Jordan's alternate number as well. And he races for Jordan. We've talked about one of his main sponsors was Monster, who obviously has the 3 6s and the whole like scratch mark of the Monster can is 666. Name equals 336 too. But yeah, we're not wrong. We're right on their heels. We just got to figure out a way to put all this information together and yeah, I feel like we're back. We're getting back to where we were last season. Obviously, I've let everybody know that I've had correspondence with that. Me and Austin had a lot more grandiose expectations for where we'd be at organization wise this season. We really wanted to hit the ground running and like be doing a ton of research and do it. Just life, guys. As I've said to you guys, like, unfortunately, we do need everybody to kind of pitch in to fill in the blind spots. Not that we were like amazing or anything, but I'm just saying it always helps. We would need that anyway, but all your guys' stuff is really helping, and we will catch our stride, hopefully. More of our stride, I should say. We do have one race so far, so I feel that's pretty decent. We're only 4 in, and we already got one. So anyway, but yeah, it's really gonna, like I said, life took a left turn, so to speak, and so yeah, we just need to pool together all of our information and more or as much as possible, and to hopefully achieve what we were able to achieve last year, and and then the other variables might fall into place. We might find ourselves with more time later on in the year or things of that nature. But and hopefully, God willing, because I do have a lot of fun with this, and especially after last season, it was like a something I look forward to every week, because not just for the vindication. I would have loved it even if we didn't call as many races, but I feel like we're kind of hot on their tails. We're drafting the execs right now, and yeah, we just need that help from the community that we've been getting. 100%. I'm not saying we're not getting it, but it just needs to continue, and we need to be able to fill in the gaps because our research has been way down from last season, and unfortunately, and no real exact timeline as of right now when it will pick back up and we'll have more time to do our midweek research. And keep in mind too, midweek research is fantastic. But how many races last year came down to something you had to know the day before, Austin? There was quite a few where it's just like, damn, how could you have known that shit? That shit happened Saturday. And they based the whole race on it the next day. So keep that in mind.
Yeah, absolutely. Like in what you were saying, just like how like we barely have time for stuff and we're just learning stuff on the go. That's one thing I was thinking of too. It's like we're almost to a point we need people to like it's almost like you have to have other people almost run the channel, organize the notes. There's so much and it's coming in so much. Because I mean, we're compared to where we were a year ago at last season. I mean, the mockery's never been higher. I mean, this year started the calendar year, and it's just been. I mean, I've been thinking it all week. Like, like we've been in this for a few months now, where we've just totally shifted gears out of where we were when last season wrapped up. I mean, that was light years ago now. I mean, where we are now. I mean, I don't. It kind of seemed like it started with the Biffle stuff, and you got Casey Kane. Like I said, he's 45, and yeah, I mean, just the amount of stuff, the research that we've put in and connecting dots, and this is stuff, I my whole life I've been, wondering what is this, what is this all about? We've been putting it together, the last few months, the last few weeks. We've been every week we keep putting it together and figuring out more, and we're learning where these pieces are coming as this puzzle gets put together further. We're seeing where these other pieces go and why they're there and why these numbers are there and the meaning to it all. And it's getting extremely deep. And yeah, it is almost to the point you almost have to have other people like, you know, helping organize stuff and do stuff and keeping up with everything. Cause it is, I mean, between our own lives and what's going on and everything and just how synced up all this stuff is. And something too that I just thought of too, which is interesting to all of this as well, is I remember Kurt Busch there, he won that championship in 2004. Then 2005 at the end of that season there, he ended up there was that issue with Roush or whatever, and he ended up getting like pulled over or whatever, and I guess it was like a DUI or something, or he had that issue, whatever that was, and then he ended up getting let go there early. And it was Kenny Wallace that I think ran the last two races of that season. Taking over for Kurt Busch. So he didn't even finish his season with the 97. He ended up just getting 10th in the chase standings. As Kenny took over this car at the very end. But it's interesting too. Because I know Kenny Wallace, we got our podcast. Kenny Wallace has his podcast. And I remember they say the greatest race ever was the Earnhardt's last win. Kenny Wallace actually finished second in that race. I think that was his best finish ever. That was also that was when Kurt Busch and Chad Little were going back and forth in '97, and that was Kurt got in there for 3 races, and then that was Chad's last race. It was Earnhardt's last win, of course. With Earnhardt and Chad having the same birthday, and that ritual, how that played out. They say that was the greatest race ever. Chad's last race, the '97 in the John Deere. And then what's interesting is, Kenny Wallace getting second in that. And then, Kenny Wallace being part of that, and then being part of stepping in with Kurt Busch there uh, at the end of that season. And it's just interesting, where all this has led to, and it's even like how things changed after that. Because like I said, that 2001 season, even the 2001 he won 500 when Dale Earnhardt died. Like I said, you had Dale Earnhardt flipping off Kurt Busch in that race before he died. And the 97, and Kurt Busch didn't have a sponsor till like 8 races in. He didn't even get Sharpie on the car till like 8 races. He was driving out a sponsor. I think he had like a blue and white. I think it was like 100th win Ford or something for the 500s, like a blue and white scheme. But yeah, he didn't have a sponsor. Just John Deere left, and the car it was like a ghost car. It was like, what do we do with it? And then he's in there, and it was a weird beginning. And even that 2001 season, like. I know all of Roush really struggled that whole 2001 season. Like I know Kurt Busch got that. He had a pole at Darlington. He did pretty good. He led some laps. Then he had like a tire go down and a wreck, and really that was probably his best race all year. Then he had I know he did really good at Talladega, like that first race. He finished 3rd as well. I think that was maybe his only top 5, or maybe a couple top 5s. But yeah, he that whole organization really struggled in 2001. And then, of course, 2002, they completely turned it around, and they returned back to form. Kurt Busch won his first race ever, and in the 97, and that was the pinnacle of his career too. At that point, from like 2000, taking over the John Deere car, it kind of struggled. 2001, he got the Sharpie, and they still kind of struggled. Still wasn't much. 2002 was breakout year. He came close to winning the championship. He finished 3rd. He could have finished possibly 2nd or higher. And there was even a stat about it too, where if you took out like a couple bad, or a couple wrecks or a couple things he got involved in, like mid to late season or whatever, like you get rid of that, he probably would have won the championship. I know Stewart had some things that year too when he won that were kind of interesting, where he got injured in a wreck at Darlington too. He was leading, and then he got wrecked, and then he had an issue. And then the next week he was at Bristol, and he had a really good car, and he was up front leading, and he had like sore ribs, and he was injured, and he had to get out. And I think Todd Bodine, I think it was Todd Bodine, took over for him or something, ended up finishing 14th. But there was a couple races that, Stewart gets wrecked leading the race, probably has the best car at Darlington, probably has the best car at Bristol, and then he gets ends up like spinning out. He has to get pulled out of the car and stuff, and he ended up couldn't finish because he was banged up and stuff. And it's kind of interesting how like Kurt Busch and Tony Stewart's 2002 season went, because they were probably the best 2 cars, and that was pretty much the highlight of that was the Winston Cup. And then of course you had Kenseth win the championship in 2003, the first Winston Cup champion for Roush, and then Kurt had the last Winston Cup champion for Roush the first year of the chase. Now this year we go back to the somewhat modified chase format, but all this all tying in with Kurt Busch and everything, and kind of running full circle. But that really was the pinnacle of his career. Those 14 wins, that championship, probably the 2002, 2004 season were his best 2 finishes. If you go by points statistically in the Winston Cup, the 2002 season would have been his best if he just went off Winston Cup points. But and that's, like I said, with him and Stewart and stuff that year, and Stewart having those couple races where he should have won or finished the race, or should have did better, but something happened. And then same thing with Kurt Busch. It's really interesting to see how if you just get rid of that, they probably would finish 1-2 in the standings that year. But yeah, I mean, just to pretty much have that car be gone for 21 years is a long time, and to bring it back, and we're looking for who's going to get that win. And, with Ginsburg and everything, I mean, Chevy hasn't won all year. I mean, with the way Ginsburg's been racing, I mean, this was the first race year he didn't lead any laps today, but, he gets wrecked, 3 times or whatever, and still finishes 11th. So, I mean, how do you really completely count him out next week? You really can't. Not saying he's a shoe-in to win. That's the best pick, but, I will not be surprised if there will be a massive ritual with that 97 next week, especially going to Vegas and everything we've talked about. And maybe Kyle Busch is on the pole again or something. I could definitely see that.
Yeah,
maybe
maybe
Kyle
they
Busch
do.
wins the race. But
Yeah, maybe they do save the 97 win for Bristol, or not Bristol. Yeah, no, Bristol. Sorry, yeah. Just reading here about like it's funny. It's just like from the outside looking in. I don't know all these things, but um, apparently he had some beef with
Jimmy Spencer.
Jimmy Spencer, and just look at reading how they write this out. Bush dominated the latter half of the race, but was passed by Jimmy Spencer with 56 laps to go. In the next corner, Bush knocked Spencer out of the way to reclaim the lead. Jimmy Spencer never forgets. Okay, so that kind of started things. So they started this rivalry. Bush again found himself the center of controversy after spinning Robert Gordon, blah blah blah. This is at the All Star race, and he was fined 10,000 for purposely, I guess, spinning the guy out and saying it was just to put on a good show. He then later meets up with Jimmy Spencer at Bristol again and wrecks him. It's just funny how every time it seems like every time him and this Spencer guy got together and had some controversy, he would go on to win multiple races. Kurt Busch would.
Yeah.
So it's just interesting. Like, I'm sure if you were going through things at the time the way we are now, we'd have been like, okay, something's going on, because just last race, there was another Spencer thing. So we would have probably already picked up on this narrative. But yeah. But not to mention he won 4 straight at Bristol at one point too. I'm sure
Yep.
it was probably from 2000, must have been from 2002 to 2004, 2003 to 2004.
Yeah.
Depending on how many races were there. And so that'd be interesting if they saved the SVG win till Bristol. That'd be interesting too.
Yeah, Earnhardt got his first win at Bristol. Kurt Busch. There's quite a few. Elliott Sadler. There's quite a few people who got their first win at Bristol. That'd be very interesting as well.
Mm.
I know we brought up a couple other places.
Gibbs getting a first win. He seems kind of likely.
Yeah.
Who else is looking for their first? That seems like it could be a.
Priest is still looking for his real first win too.
Yeah, he's got the All-Star. Herbst? I don't know. I don't know his career.
Birthday's the day before O'Hare's.
He's 27. Hopefully,
off by a hair.
He doesn't make the club. One club you don't want to join. Yeah.
Maybe Zilich. I never know.
Yeah, I was obviously thinking Zilich too, but hard to say. I haven't really had my finger to the pulse on what they're planning on doing with them. From what I can tell, like I was talking to you about, I think it's just like it's easy to keep him in the wings, and when they want to use him, it'll make sense when they use him. But for now, they just want him not making any noise and just flying under the radar, if you will. And then it's very SVG-esque, isn't it? Have a guy not win since his first race and then become an overnight superstar basically within, I don't know, just a few months in one season.
Yeah, I remember that. I talked about that Elliott Sadler, that Michael Waltrip, that Earnhardt and Chad Little connection, all those birthdays being 2 on the 29th, 2 on the 30th. I know, like I said, Sadler got his first win at Bristol there. He started 38th. That's still the farthest back anyone's ever started to win there. So that's 38th. So I thought that's, today's 3-8. That's kind of interesting. And then Kurt Busch, when he won the next year and got his first win the next year after, and that's interesting too, because Elliott Sadler drove the 21 car, and it's been 21 years since the 97. That maybe that's very interesting right there. I just thought about that right now. Because that was the Wood Brothers 21, and then you have the 97. It's been 21 years since the 97. Yeah, that's very interesting. And then
who drives for Wood Brothers now? I was doing a little work.
Barry.
Oh yeah, that's right. Barry was leading laps all day today.
When he won his first race, Kurt Busch started 27th, like Ritual. Kurt Cobain dead at 27.
Man, poor Barry. He went on. He crashed. Okay, I was gonna say Josh Berry was leading laps quite a lot today.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, all the good cars really wrecked today. All the Austin Cindric, Logano, Barry, Ford's always so good at Phoenix now, and then they just a lot of them just wreck out or don't get the finish. But
looks to be that way. A lot of Chevys wrecked too.
yeah, and then the Alfredo took over Bowman.
I was just wondering. I was like, wait, why is the Xfinity driver here?
Yeah, something happened with Bowman. I forget what they said. He wasn't racing.
Huh. Vertigo. That's
Vertigo,
tough. Yeah. Homie's got vertigo and he's a NASCAR driver. That's the worst thing you could want to do. Bro, I'm spinning. No, dude, you're just going fast in a circle. It's good. No, I'm spinning, bro. Okay, that's crazy. That's kind of crazy. God, I swear there's jokes in here somewhere. It's just, man. Yeah, I was going down the list and I didn't even pay any attention to my boy Alfredo. What a fucking name. Golly.
Chicken Alfredo.
Seriously, I'm fucking hungry.
He needs to drive the Chicken Alfredo car.
He needs to have like the pasta sauce car or something. The ragu car. God forbid. Is there a way of looking up? Probably not. Wait, what? What did I do here? Oh, that's the other thing I was going to look up. Dent Wizard. I've never seen. I could be wrong. I mean, he could have had the sponsor. I just haven't noticed it. Well, that's one thing we've definitely been behind on is the sponsors. 56 like NASCAR. Funny.
52.
Dent Wizard. Yeah, I've seen that too. And then
what a sponsor.
From his birthday. Oops. Oh my goodness. Of course. That's so funny. Of course, it's going to be the 67th day of the year because he was born on the New Year's, and obviously the date numerology is going to be 67. So that's funny. That's good. That's like, man. See, these are the things that we need to think about too. Like,
and there's your 4 5s, 5 4s. Cobain born in 67. It's just adding up.
Oh man. And yeah, his birthday is on a day with 52 date numerology too, like the Dent Wizard. Interesting. Yeah, that's a no-brainer. I didn't even think about that. It's the 67th day of the year. Then it's been 67 days since his birthday. Yeah, I mean, because I knew it was the 67th day of the year. I've said that. I don't know why I didn't put that together. Or, yeah, I need to remember Blaney's birthday better. I mean, I remember last year almost every week looking up his birthday. It's like, God damn, it's the New Year. It's New Year's Eve. Remember.
Yeah, he's got the easiest one.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. That's for some reason the easiest one is the one I can't hold on to. Yeah, very interesting. Sure, that has something to do with her. I mean, not to mention what else was it? Yeah, Phoenix Raceway 67 too. Oh gosh, man.
Wow. And 77. That's episode 77.
Of course, for anybody, if we don't bring it up, guys, it's we probably notice it, but they're just cookies for you. That just so you can join in and feel like, man, there's a lot of syncs around this channel. Like, what's going on? Every time that they start talking about something, it matches their episode number or something. Yeah, it happens a lot, guys. Start looking at your own lives. I guarantee you it's happening in your own life. I was talking with Dale over emails about this exact thing, or no, it was actually in the comments. But yeah, it's very real, guys. Pay attention to things. And I mean, it's all day, not all day long, but it's so many times that, things that have no association will be mentioning the same thing at the same time. Like whether or not I'm like watching a video on something and have something else pulled up and they'll both like mention the same thing right around the same time. I'm like, what? Why would they both say, how many times like my little daughter will come up to me and just like say something that it's like I'm researching on my screen. Like not like she's reading my screen, but she'll like say something in the other room. And I'm like, what? Why would she just say that right now? It's like right when I look at a word, she'll say it. It's like there's so much stuff like that going on. And then there is prophecy about it. I'll keep it at that. I do plan on talking about things. I wanted to go through emails and kind of compile a show where we could take like, maybe it is over multiple shows too, just so we can like do like an email firing off type of thing where we give our remarks on emails, because not every email is going to be a show. So maybe we can, just make remarks on certain emails or topics or things like that too. Because honestly, we haven't gotten in our emails. It's only a few people that email us, to be honest. But even the suggestions in the emails are just kind of like, for the most part, like, what do you think about this kind of thing? It's not like full show topics, although the Masonic thing it needs to be a show. And I would want King Richard there as well, because he has a wealth of knowledge on Masonry as well. But I've been looking into Oriental Masonry and things like that. And there's a lot to talk about, and it's fun to talk about. And of course, we always preface the fact that Masonry is not some arbitrary thing that guys are just going around, drinking beers and windowless buildings. This is there's a lot more to it. And I think for the most part, people are realizing that, but there's just so many lemmings that no matter how many people you gain consciousness, it seems like there must be, for every person that's capable of gaining consciousness at some point in their life, there's 9 other people born who will never, or at least won't until it's too late, it feels like. And I know that's kind of defeatist, and I shouldn't think like that. It's just like what's being presented to me sure feels like that. And I'm not the kind of person that's waiting on the white hats to come and save me. So I'm trying to be realistic. Isn't that so? Sorry if my realistic or realism comes off as a downer, but just how it goes. Keep in mind too, it's also International Women's Day on 3/8. Ooh, what a day! Wonder how they came up with that one.
There's your 43 for NASCAR too, and there's the 119, 119.
Very interesting. And so it's like declaration of war from Iran, or at least potential war on Women's Day, where it's just like everybody's argument against Middle Eastern countries is their treatment of their women. So it's just like, is it really international? What are they doing in Iran for women today? I'm not hating either. I'm just saying, like, I'm just curious. I wonder if they're celebrating the same way we are. Which, to be honest, every day in the West is a Women's Day. Let's just be blunt. I don't care how bad you guys think you have it. We all got it bad in our own ways, but I don't want to hear it. You can flame me in the comments. I don't care. But yeah, I think I touched on the main. We got a great email from this Gloria person who kind of came out of the woodworks, and she was feeling I guess burnt out. She is a NASCAR fan. She's trying to get into it with the gematria and everything. So I'm hoping to have some more correspondence with her, because she gave a pretty heartfelt plea to kind of understand how we use gematria. And it was tough, because it's like, obviously I can point her towards Zach, but I'm pretty sure she already knows about Zach's channel and everything. But hopefully. But yeah, it was tough because up until not that long ago, we weren't branded, and I still don't think we're branded. We do NASCAR and everything like that, but we're really open to just about every topic. And if you go through our catalog, I think we've covered quite a lot of topics for how far along we are. Yeah, 77 episodes. It sounds like a lot of episodes, but like for the breadth of things we've covered, I think we've done a good job of diversifying our topics and our takes on those topics. But all that to say, uh it's tough trying to be the arbiter of what you should do in any given category when we don't, like I said, we're not necessarily branded a NASCAR gematria channel. It is something that we do, and it's something that we have been into and are doing. But so needless to say, we had or at least I gave a nice lengthy reply back to her, and hopefully she doesn't get burnt out on it. And because what it was sounding like is she should potentially have a negative outlook moving forward if she wasn't to get this. And I just, I was basically kind of talking her down from that, saying, if that's the case, it might be best to take, just take a step back and just appreciate, just watch, just appreciate. There's not a lot riding on the average person's life or anyone's. I shouldn't say anybody's, but my average person's life to like understand the inner machinations that we assume or sometimes prove that they're doing with these NASCAR and rigged sports and things of that nature, and rigged politics and rigged all these things. A lot of the times I would say the best thing people can do is be a supporter of it, of the of people that are bringing it to light. I don't think it's going to be everyone's job in any given era to bring things to light. It's going to be certain people's jobs, and it's going to take a lot of other people in order to get on board with the program. And that is not to put me or you ahead of anybody. That's not how we've thought about it ever. If you guys have 77 episodes in, and we've been pretty damn humble, and not like saying we've had reasons not to be. It's just who we are. This isn't about, becoming larger than what we are. It's about getting this message out to as many people as possible, resonating with as many people as possible. And I think one of the best messages of our channel is just people becoming people again. And how we try to achieve that is by extending an arm out to people who you just realize that in this day and age, it's so easy for people to sink into the narrative of like mental health and mental health struggles that, I'm not trying to say this stuff isn't real, but it becomes a lot more real when you think that everybody else is going through it. It's very much, it becomes a hive mind mentality, and it's so easy to dip into that and not be able to find your way out. And obviously we see what happened post COVID. That's one of the main reasons we talk about this. But yeah, it's been a breath of fresh air to see the faces that have come out of the woodwork, and because that's all it takes. This isn't some huge commitment we're asking from anybody. Maybe this sparks something in your life that becomes something greater. That's fantastic. But come on over here and have a conversation with us. Email us, hit us up in the comments, potentially come on the show. Like, this is not, we're not asking for like, producer credits. We're just asking you guys to, pull yourselves up and like make yourselves known so that we can talk with you and build, because that's what it's going to take. And even with the slow build that it has been, because this is the other side of the 77 episodes. 77 episodes can seem like a lot, and it can seem like a little or very few, but for 77 episodes, I'm pleased with any amount of people that come on and want to link up with us and view us as people that they can uh break out. I don't know if they're breaking out of the bubble per se. I don't want to put that on them, but I'm saying if that's the case, that's great to know for as few people have. But yeah, we would hope that eventually each and every one of you that has will spur on 10 more in the future. And that's not to say that I want to get millions of viewers on YouTube, and that's my goal. The goal is the personal goal. It's like people need to break out of their bubbles, and they need to wake up, really. But that can even be secondary, as long as who's waking up is good with themselves and understands their role in this world, more than walking around bumping into things or trying to make as much money as possible, or getting lost in these schemes that the world, I say the world, you guys know where we stand, hopefully. If not, there's definitely rulers of this world, and they have us indexed out to a T, and are putting us through this rat race, which they show us every single day and mock us every single day. But without saying that whole spiel, yeah, the world definitely puts us all in certain boxes, and yeah, we're just trying to widen that box until we can break out of it collectively. I don't know. That was a long spiel. Sorry if that was a long spiel, but yeah, it was nice to get a heartfelt email like that, and I'm hoping that not only that you're doing well, but yeah, don't give up on the knowledge. It's more important that you not necessarily are able to understand, but that you're willing to understand. I don't know if that makes necessarily a difference. It does in my head, but anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I agree 100%, and that's just the thing. I mean, we are living in a time where it is every man for himself, and we all have to do. That's why that's why I have, all the stuff I'm doing right now is, like I said. I mean, that's the way you have to look at life. I mean, we are all fighting for our lives. It is every man for himself, but at the same time, like I've said, I don't want to be the only. I don't want to be the only guy who has the knowledge and is successful and is trying to do things, or trying to make money, and that's like what I've said last week too. I mean, this is the thing. I mean, um, yeah, maybe a few years from now we don't have that time. Maybe it's already too late. Maybe we're already screwed. Maybe we do have a few more years left. Maybe we'll be all right. Maybe I'll be finally doing really good with my life. Maybe I be out of my slave job, and maybe I got hundreds, thousands, millions of dollars stacked up. Who knows? I mean, or maybe no, maybe I'm gonna go down with the sinking ship, and then I'm gonna try jumping ship, and I'm gonna end up going down anyway. So it's like, yeah, nobody knows how all of this is gonna go, and I've been sitting and thinking about it too lately a lot. Just like I've been saying, it's like the next few years and stuff, like 4 years from now, because I really think this is going to be it. And, it could be this year as well, but this is definitely going to be a year where I either, like I said, I either win or lose this year, and I'm either going to, make something, or I'm not. And this is pretty much it. I mean, and, for other people, that's the thing. I mean, I'm trying to give and help other people with their things too. I mean, it's not about, the channel isn't about us. It was never about us. It's about all of us. It's about everybody. I mean, if I got something that I have that I think is interesting, or something that's helping me, or I know, or that's why I offer, like, that's why I put the Live Good link in the thing, and why I have why, if people want to try the thing I got into, if they want to get in it, they can. If people want to try the bakery thing that I'm doing, or something else, or whatever. People, I know we all need money, and we all have to find ways to you know try and veer off of what they're doing, because yeah, I mean, you got to look at it. I mean, you don't just have AI replacing people and stuff. I mean, they're letting how many people go? I mean, they just got rid of like what, another 90,000 people, 90,000 jobs, or 100,000 people, 100,000 jobs. And it's not even because of AI. They're just letting people go. People are getting fired. I mean, left and right. And you never know when, it's like, I got goals this year I want to hit in the gym, and things I want to do. Is any of that going to happen? Am I still living in the same place, doing the same job a year from now? Possibly not. I mean, you have to be honest about things. I mean, anything can happen, and that's just the point of the channel and what we do. I mean, yeah, I like lately I haven't had a lot of time to be, you know, as productive or maybe on free to find truth or in the chats or in the live streams or leaving comments. But that's just the thing is that, you know, like I said, it's every man for himself. We all have to do our own thing. But at the same time, you know, I don't want it to be just like the one man army, one man mission. You know, I'd like to see all of us put our minds together. I mean, that's the way you got to look at it. Like you got to look at it like, oh, you know, we're not meant to be. You know, we're not mediocre. We're not meant to be mediocre and live a mediocre life and just, you know, scrape by and do the bare minimum. Like you know, I could talk about purpose. You know, like my purpose, I just want to be one with nature. I just want to be chilling with nature and just, you know, just do what I need to do, just be natural at life and just, you know, live my life. But that's just the thing. I mean, they don't allow you to do that. They're taking that away. And that's just getting stripped away further and further every single day. That's falling away. And we're having to fight harder and harder for it every single day. Every day it slips away through the cracks and we have to find ways to reel it back in and reinvent it. And it's just what everything right now. It's, you know, them getting rid of money and cash. It's like, that's why, you know, it's like, yeah, I could sit here and, you know, go against that or not, you know, approve of it. But it's like same thing with AI. I mean, AI is taking over. It is the future. If we're going to be here in the next 4 or 5 years, we're going to have to deal with it. I mean, we're going to have to deal with other currencies and other ways to survive. I mean, it's the thing is you're forced to adapt in this world or die. You adapt or die. I mean, are you just going to die and lay there and die? Or are you going to try to adapt? It's like, what are people going to do? And that's why, you know, I try and give people options. I try and open people's minds. I try and have people think about the future because you can't just look at right now. I mean, if you look at right now, I mean, look at what's going on in the world right now. Look at how things are changing rapidly. Things are just escalating by the day. There's no saying where we're going to be a month from now, especially when the real year kicks in April. I mean, then things are really going to take off, and who knows what's going to happen then? And then you got the summer, which is going to be just absolutely nuts. I mean, and like I said, I mean, we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know how much time we have, and you never know what the right move is, but your best move is to always make a move. I mean, you want to go down swinging. You want to go down trying. I mean, you don't want to just do nothing because it's like, oh, well, you know, I hate the world. I hate the world direction. You know, it's just, and it's, you know, and it's even my, you know, this is something I've had to learn my whole life because it's like, you know, there I was, it was, you know, back in like, you know, 2000, 2001, 2002, I'd be in school and it's like, you know, I'm reading books, I'm looking at, you know, stuff back then. And it's like, you know, there's the computer lab and people are like, oh, you know, teachers are like, oh, you got to get in there. You got to learn the computer. You got to learn how to use the internet and email and all that stuff. That's going to be your life, your future. Like, you're not going to live without that. It's going to be everything. And I'm just like, no, I just want to sit here and read a book. I just want to sit here and, you know, do my thing. But, you know, that was the mistake I made as a child, just not, you know, I mean, yeah, you know, I'd rather be just reading a book or not have internet and stuff like that. But, you know, this is the world you were brought into. This is the time. I mean, I just had a hard time facing it. Like, God, I got to get in there and learn this internet. And I got to learn how to do all that. And I got to learn an email and what's that. And you know, and there was no YouTube back then, but there wasn't even what we're doing now that you couldn't even do that. And I had to learn that. I had to get a smartphone. I had to learn this. I had to learn YouTube. I had to learn all of this, you know? So it's like, that's exactly what I see with, you know, AI and other currencies and everything else. I mean, it's the same thing as the internet. You know, now you can't live without the internet. You can't live without a smartphone. You can't get by without an email. I mean, you got to use this stuff for everything. I mean, that's the same thing with AI. It's the same thing with crypto. It's the same thing with Bitcoin. It's the same thing with everything. I mean, it's you know, they bring it up, it becomes something, and then it just takes over, and that's just the way of the world. I mean, yeah, it's the times we were born into. We were born into this. You know, when I was born, there was no internet. You didn't have it. It wasn't a thing, and then it just came up, and then now it's everything. So I mean, I had to deal with that in my life. Like, this thing wasn't a thing. It wasn't anything. What is this thing? And then it just came up, and it's taking over. And well, yeah, I mean, I was forced to learn this. You're going to be forced to learn that and adapt and do this and do that or die. I mean, that is where we are, and it's just that's the mindset people got to have. And some people they want to live like it's 1980, it's 1990. It's like, no, you gotta you know, shake out of that. I get it, you know, I understand the nostalgia and you miss the old days, and I do too, and you know how cool things used to look and be and all that. But you got to realize, yeah, you can have that and think of that and keep that alive in your head, but you got to realize in the real world that world is dead, gone. It's never coming back. The 90s, early 2000s, it's never coming back. I mean, it lives in our memories, and we have pictures and videos of it, but we're in a new world now. I mean, it's just the thing. I mean, and that's why, like you were saying, having people on here, and I really am grateful that we're having a lot of people step up and come on here and stuff too, because, like we created this channel, a year and a half ago almost, and it's like, you look at where we've come in that time, and it's like now you got people, stepping up, wanting to come on. I know that, the subs are kind of somewhat dying off. They haven't really grown much. The views pretty much are pretty stagnant. They're not really going up, but maybe slightly. But it's like, we've did what we could in the time, and we're kind of reaching that max potential. But that's why I offer other things too. I reach out to other people and see what other people want to know and what can other people do. And that's the thing. You have other people, other brains, other knowledges. You bring that together. You work with other people. You talk to other people. You get people involved. I mean, it changes things. Changes everything. Just like everything I got going on now, it's all from connections with people that I know, people sending me, hey, try this, get into this. Hey, I got an idea, try this. And then I go up there and I execute it. I try it. I go up there and do these things. And because I know I have to. I know that, the cost of living is going up. I don't know how much time I have where I'm at, how much my job, maybe that, like I said, who knows? I could lose my job this week. You never know. And that's just the way you have to live life. Like, you have to be, okay, I can't just put all my eggs in one basket and live one dimensionally. I got to branch off in other areas. And I also have to look at what the future is. Where am I going? I mean, I don't completely understand all this stuff either, but you're not going to. I mean, you learn on the go, and life is changing rapidly right now. We got things coming and going, and I don't know how much longer I got where I'm living. I don't know what the situation is. I don't know how long my job's going to be around. I don't know what's coming next. So, and it's not going to be good enough anyways, because we know, the cost of living, inflation is only going to get worse. People losing their jobs left and right, things getting worse left and right. So it's not like you can't afford to stay stagnant anyways. Even if you wanted to, you still can't. You have to make moves. You have to do other things, or you're not even going to live. So it's like, that's the boat we're all in right now. That's where it is. And I think that, as a community, we can sit there, in this knowledge. I mean, this is knowledge that no matter what happens, we'll always have. No matter what happens, we'll take this to our grave, being, thankful that Zach Zach showed us this, and other people in this community, and everyone's contributions. We'll always have this, and we would like to make the most of it and do the most with it. But, with our lives, our jobs, our situations, we realize that we really can't do that. And this is all we can do. But it's like, at the same time, it's like, it's like now, I'm in my 30s. It's like, it's all about being productive. It's like, well, how productive really are we? I mean, we're productive for the community, but it's like, yeah, we're not reaching thousands of people, and, we're not growing by thousands, and we're not, really revolting or really getting a revolution going. We're not making any money off this. So it's like, okay, so you're not making money, you're not revolting, you're not getting a revolution going. We're not, reaching thousands of people, and, we're not making money. So it's like, well, okay, so what are we doing? We're doing everything we can do, and this is all we can do. And then, we're trying to just look at the next step, because, who knows how much time, like I said, we have with YouTube and stuff too, especially with AI and stuff. And you brought up a great point earlier about how the internet's changing, how things are changing. You can't even go to really type something in anymore, because AI is just going to give you just a complete just garbage answer, and just something that's not even close. So it's like, we're 4 years ago, 2022. Life was completely different. You didn't have the AI thing when you put something in. You didn't have all that. I mean, look how easy life was. I got, when I moved back here 4 years ago, gas was super cheap. I could make Uber Eats. I could do I could make easily $1,000 in a week. At times I could make 300 and some, almost close to $400 in a day. Gas, I could fill my car up for like $15-20. I get a full tank. It's like, now it's, I'm not even like, I'm like at a quarter, 3/4 tank. I put 20 in to get a full tank. It's like, it's ridiculous. It just in the change of 4 years. Imagine 4 more years of this, and things don't just go, 4, another 4. No, they multiply. Time, everything in technology, it multiplies. If you think this is that 4-year transition from 2022 to 2026 something, wait till you see 2026 to 2030. Now that right there that thought alone will keep you up at night. And that might be why this week I haven't really slept well either, because I know lately, I don't know what it's been, but it's like, I don't know if I'm just feeling the pressure, the stress, or I'm just feeling the signs in life that, things are getting ready to change, or you're not maybe doing the right thing, or you are doing the right thing, or it's just maybe you don't have the right people around you, or it's just like, is this isn't where you're supposed to be. It's just like or maybe you are, or something has to give. It's just, I'm seeing these signs right now. It's like the warning signs before like something happens. Like, and we're tracking every week. I mean, that's why we come on here and we track this every week. I mean, to an absolute T of what's going on. And we're dialing in, we're adding to this every single week because we know these people watch us. We know everything we do. They're right on it. There is no escape at the end of the day. So, it's like, okay, this is it. What are we going to do? And that's just it. And there's not, like I said, there's not like that's the thing lately. It's just like you realize, like you were saying, you realize, most people, a lot of people don't have what it takes, but okay, we're still trying to get and reach those, top, percent or top 10%, or just the top people that could possibly get this and, join along and come along and be part of this and, be part of what we have, or, have a chance for them to succeed. Because there is still, even with people I talk to, and it's like people, like anybody, anyone that comes into your aura can, pick up on your energy and your magic and what you can usher in at them. But it's at the end of the day, we all do have our own lives and we're all just trying to get through it. But it's just like, if like I said, we don't have the money and the resources to really, do much with this work and take it to the next level and, project things like we'd like to, or like we wish. I mean, if say in a few years, if I do have, tons of hundreds of thousands of millions of dollars, there's so much I could do with that to get this work and get this knowledge out. I mean, there's so much I could do to help this grow and get this out there, but I don't know what that looks like and what the world will be. And are we still even on YouTube, and are we doing this, and can you even do anything anymore? Is it going to be too late by then, or do we not have time? These are all questions I can't answer. But these are the thoughts that I have. This is my thinking. It's like, that's the thing. The way I think of life is like, okay, how can I be even more productive? What can I really do to get this out, to take this to the next level? It's like, because I don't know if that's just the other thing too. It's like, for younger people that are in their teens and 20s, I know it's the world we live in now too, where you have to be maximum productive with your life and stuff and the days and times we're in. But once you're like your 30s, that's like the transition. Like I've definitely been facing too. It's like just realizing just how like productive you have to be, and how you have to be, making most of your time. Because like now it's like, hey, you're not your teens anymore, you're not your 20s anymore. You are dying. You are pretty much starting that decline in life where you see it in your face, and you look at yourself in the mirror every morning, like you're dying, you're decaying. Your testosterone's dropping a little bit every year. This is the part where things go south. So this is where you have to go north. You have to make that pivot point, and you have to, it's now or never to get that direction flowing. And I think about that, not just like with my own life, but, this stuff too, because it's like, yeah, this is what we do is the pinnacle of it all, because, we show you every week where these things, not just in the world or with NASCAR or anything, but how it all, translates and correlates, to our own lives, and how synced up it really is. And we talk, the organic side, and how interesting that is, how certain connections there are. And then, you have of course, the force side as well, and how these things come together. And this is where, the battle is going to be won and lost. And, and if we do lose and we don't win, and, and we don't have enough time, it's just simply because, humanity failed, and they didn't have what it took. I mean, humanity just failed, and they didn't have what it took. But, that's what we're here to counteract that, and it's just like, this is all we can do right now. If we have a few more years, maybe we really can make something a lot more of this and really get this out there. Maybe things will go different than we think, but we're at a very interesting moment, a very interesting time right now. And it's, I just keep thinking about it every day, what really is the future? What really is about to happen? I mean, are we about to get cut off and cut short, or are we about to, really make it, really become something, really move on, really transcend from everything and everyone around us. And it's just going to be one of the two. And it's coming down to it. I mean, it's coming very fast. The time is not only, the world, the technology is not only is that multiplying, but so is the time. So it's, you think about how short ago 4 years went and how that felt and how different the world is, how different life is compared to what it is right now. It's absolutely nuts. And it's like I said, earlier today, it's crazy this week, just driving around a little bit. I mean, like I said, in a couple weeks, with like Uber Eats or a week of Uber Eats back in 4 years ago, heck, I could have put like $30-40 in my tank for the whole week. This week, I driving around super busy doing stuff, not Ubering, not doing Uber Eats, not really putting that much miles on, not driving that much. I put probably close to $100 worth of gas in my car. Probably like $80-90 at least, close to 100. I mean, that's insane. I mean, I'm filling up like every other day, and I'm just like, man, it's like where we were a month ago. Where are we going to be in another month? Where are we going to be in another couple months? Where are we going to be in a year? And I know they want to get rid of cars and get me off the road. And then I'm thinking about that. And I'm just like, man, and then it's just, there's a lot to think about right now. And I think that a lot of people may not want to think about these things or look at these things, but there are important aspects in life that, you want to be really watching and monitoring right now, because we are at that moment. And if war breaks out or something, or things really do head south quickly, and they very well could, and that might be why all this, that's why we're tracking this every day, every week. That's why we come on here, is the mockery's never been this high, and it's definitely not where it was a year ago. We're definitely in a completely different place. I can't even fathom another year where we are and what things look like, or another couple of years, 3 years. I mean, it's just totally unfathomable. 4 years from now, I couldn't tell you anything. I couldn't tell you if I'm still alive. Am I even living in Washington? Am I doing? I have no idea. And that's just the thing. And that's the way you have to look at life. You just have to be open-minded and just, just take things one small step at a time.
Maybe this time next year, you'll have moved down to Big Daddy's Ranch. That's what I'm calling my house. It's not really a ranch, and I'm not really Big Daddy either. But either way, and you can help me dig out my gun range. I have plans for, but who knows? Absolutely.
We'll be in Phoenix, Arizona. We'll have land out in the desert. We'll be firing our snipers.
Hell yeah. We'll be infiltrating Area 51 and in New Mexico. No, yeah, well put. And once again, I'm not to speak for you. It's just we've covered this so many times. I kind of know where your head's at with it. It's just, unfortunately, it comes down to to these types of statements and ideals, because that's what's presented for us. It's better to live in reality than to live in like a sentiment. And that was a great point you made up, that a lot of people do function on sentimentality, which is, I talk about that all the time in my personal life. I'm bringing that up all the time, especially with my girl. I'm like, yo, a lot of the things you want are like sentimental. I'm sitting here with outside looking in saying like, that is not logical. That's not like, we should not do that. This is a fleeting idea that you're chasing. And not to say that every fleeting idea is like wrong. I'm not trying to demonize it either. It's human nature, I'm sure. I'm like that as well. Just not on as many things, but either way. But yeah, you're absolutely right that, you can't, we're never going to be able to recreate it. We are never going to be able to recreate it. That's not to say another civilization won't recreate it, because it seems like that's happened in the past. There's a lot of recreating and going on. Nothing new under the sun, so they say. But it's hard to be overwhelmingly optimistic about just about anything, and I don't think it's necessarily the right move to be overwhelmingly optimistic. That optimism has its blinders too. You got to think everything has its positive and negative aspects to it, and a lot of people won't get that, and hopefully one day you do. That there's good and bad to pessimism, there's good and bad to optimism. And one thing that I can say, though, is that I think we are where we're at because of exactly what you described, this idea of being able to withdraw into something that isn't there anymore. And because you're not moving forward, like you mentioned, no, but you have the mass not moving forward, that y- we're so far behind at this point that it's just like, it seems like to get this thing started, it's just an expanding mass too. Let's to be even more descriptive. It the mass is getting bigger, but there's not any forward progress. There's no forward momentum because exactly what you described, people trying to live in an era that's bygone and teaching their kids to want to live in that same era by passing down their sentimentality, and those kids get stuck in something they don't know or perceive. Rather than looking at what's ahead and what's needing to be done, they're looking to some past that they'll never achieve. And that's a far reaching topic too. Like that, I mean, that breaches a lot of social uh, structures. I'm talking about the conversation on, men versus women, black versus white. That thing goes along, that breaches that whole, all of those things in some way. Um, that people have been, for the most part, trying to withdraw into something that doesn't exist anymore, rather than, like you said, having the idea of pulling yourself up by your bootstraps and seeing things for what they are. And because you're not able to see things for what they are, that's a lot of the dissonance. That's a lot of the blinders on people right now, is because they're not even in the same world we're in. They literally are not in the same world that we are in. So they cannot see it. And there's trauma induced aspects of it. And I don't say trauma to say, in fact, I just had a conversation with my sister about like the meanings of words and everything. Like trauma will be used. Of course, it has connotations, negative connotations and things like that. But the thing I mean by trauma is just like a kind of like an early onset mindset that like traps you. There's a lot of things like that. It doesn't necessarily have to be some like terrible assault based thing. It can be something like I was mentioning earlier, your parents kind of pushing an ideal that you'll never overcome onto you. It's not out of evil. It's not because they hate you and don't want you to get out. They don't realize there's anything to get out of. They're just stuck in this thing that they don't see. And so they pass it on to you, not realizing it, and then you become another one, or at least can severely set back because of it. And this is coming from experience. I was talking with my sister, like I said, and I had to bring up, it's like my mom, there's no real like award ceremony she's gonna go and take home any awards at. She'll just be cheering in the crowds for the other parents. But this isn't a negative point about my mom. In fact, I think I'm lucky. I think that the reason I was able to break out of it is because my mom never stuck me into anything. A lot of people would say my mom like wasn't there in certain ways. And where I see it is, I'm glad my mom wasn't there in certain ways, because she got into her things and she's still stuck in her things, but she didn't stick me in them. A lot of parents will stick their kids in them. And I'm actually kind of glad that my mom was caught up in the things she was selfishly, because she didn't try to spread them to her children. And in doing so, 2 out of 3 of her children got to see the world for what it was, and only one of them succumbed to it so far. That'd be my oldest brother, or my older brother, my only brother. But and what's funny about that is, now, without going too far, but oh well, it's my, it's our platform. I can say what I want. Yeah, now he's her biggest problem too, because he's been like bumming it outside of her house, and he's fell into certain aspects of things, and really, I shouldn't say never. I used to be really into the idea of like legacy and like my name. I used to care about it. Like when we were growing up, my brother and my sister, we were all homeschooled. And so we were a lot closer than the average, potentially than definitely much closer than the average family unit type, kids growing up, at least compared to like the urban environments and stuff. And we were in an urban environment. We were just in Portland, North Portland. So it's not like there wasn't schools we could have gone to, but my mom chose to homeschool us, and I'm glad she did. But yeah, I did grow up with a sense of like just being able to see the world with my brother and sister. It's not like I felt superior at that age. Looking back, I can kind of attribute the idea of superiority to it, but it wasn't that. It wasn't some like evil villain superiority. It was just that like I was walking around like, what is everybody else doing? Does that why can't they enjoy this? How come they don't see this? How come they're not, it was just kind of that way. And when the only two people I knew that did see things my way were my brother and sister. And so I thought it was us against the world. And I thought we were kind of infallible in that way. And yeah, life has a way of humbling those ideas. I mean, but yeah, I mean, I would have never thought that my brother could fail the way he's failed at life. I didn't think it was possible because I thought that we were like hero levels of above doing things like that. And yeah, it just goes to show you that. And I think there's a lesson in that. I think I do take the lesson that's given there too. That yeah, it can be me. When I talk to my son about, when I had, it's a complicated issue, but I had him homeschooled, but the other parent insisted that he go to public school. Long story short, I had to start walking him to the bus stop, and I did every single day because there's no way I'm letting him go walk to the bus stop. And like Austin, you visited the house, you saw that, I had some tent camps out there and some good stuff hanging out there. That was right where the bus stop is for the school. And so I would go out there every day with them. And, one thing I tried to impart in him is that we are not special. Like I would look at him and I'd be like, you are special to me, but you are not special unless you make yourself special. And special doesn't mean, better than. It just means that you can be them. I can be them. I wish I could tell you I will never be. I promise you, I'm not going to do that. And it's not that I ever plan on doing it. It's just that you need to understand that there's something that I was going to say fighting against, but it's not really a fight. It can become a fight, but it has to do with you keeping, I guess humility plays into it, but I was just describing to him that, don't tell yourself you'll never be that and like rest on your laurels. Be just looking at where you are now and where they are now and say you could never do that, because you would be surprised. Who knows? That person probably was your age thinking they could never do that, looking at a bum outside too. And life hits everybody different. And so, yeah, maybe I was able to impart that lesson on my son because of what my brother became. And I didn't even realize it until honestly just now. So, it's funny how the world works. And, but yeah, yeah, that's a topic that we've definitely touched on before. And, without making anything too personal or anything like that, I do want to just kind of double down on what you were saying, that the appreciation of the community for what it is at this moment. I'm not saying that it's not like when it gets to 1,000 subs, we're going to be like, oh, now we've done it. Now this is community. It's community now. It's just, what we're talking about has to do with, reaching people that possibly don't know about it yet. And it's not just, like I said, not just gematria, not just sports or anything like that. It has to do with, becoming an example for the next generation. And you can't do that if like I described and you described, if we're just stuck, kicking the can down the road to the next generation and subsequently, repeating these cycles. And I also want to kind of point out too, this might be the most like, what's the word? Maybe the most different I've ever spoken about this, because, about human nature and humankind and everything like that. Because I was kind of touched by that email. Not that it was like a super touching email that got sent. It was just that, somebody was reaching out, and it was just, it gave me like a swelled up sense of purpose. And so yeah, you won't catch me to be speaking like this very often, but I do have a positive outlook for the future, because the future is my kids. And so if I didn't see a future that was possible, I wouldn't be on YouTube every Sunday. I'd be doomsday prepping or something. I'd be eating my basement snacks with watching Brian watching High Impact, just chilling out on my basement snacks. So, and I'll just finish off with that. So I don't know if you wanted to make any further remarks before we do this last quick segment, and then we're gonna call it a night.
Yeah, you brought up some great points. It's like that old saying, how they lied to us. They all told us, oh, you can be whatever you want to be. That old saying, they always get you in school, or maybe your parents told you that or whatever. It's like, oh, you can be whatever you want to be, but it's really what life is you can be whatever you make yourself to be. Whatever you can get yourself to do, whatever you can make yourself do, and whatever you can accomplish, for yourself, that's what you can do. But it's not like you can be whatever you want to be or be whoever you want to be. It's like, it's just, and that's just, that's part of the programming and stuff. And, I think I think tonight was, it was, with our, kind of our rant and our rave and our, kind of our little talking points we've had tonight. I think, it's a great, and even philosophy wise, philosophy and just, direction and just, and that's why like too, I said, not, I know you put my email in there, but like, even like just, like you said, just that email you got and stuff. That's why I said, if I know I am extremely busy, but you got my number. If other people want my number, I know there's a few people that do have my number, but if people ever do want to, talk to me or, text me, if I do have time, and I am very busy, but I mean, some people might not be intrigued by the email, but that's the other thing too. I mean, people, I am very open to, talking to people. I've talked to, like Rick James a couple times. I've talked to him on the phone. There are certain people I've talked to, in the community, through calls, or, some people through calls or through other things too. And, there's people that, we have done stuff with the people around. I mean, people, the person that I got my wealth, sharing thing I'm doing, that's from people that I've known for, like at least about 6 years now. Even when I was in Wyoming there, and I came back and stuff. And, these are all people that that have been in contact. The person that's got me into the, bakery thing, that's someone I've been talking to for, a few years now. It's, so there's people that, are around. And that's why, even people at the gym, I saw two people in there today. There was two people I haven't seen, and, this girl, and there was this guy, and then, they were together and stuff, and I was talking to them a little bit, and maybe I'll see them again, maybe I won't, but it's just like that, the little things like that. We had a good conversation. they seem pretty cool. So it's like, maybe that'll lead somewhere. Maybe I'll see him again. Maybe it won't. But it was still great while I was there. Maybe there is something to them. Maybe I'll get to them into something. Maybe you just never know. That's the thing. And yeah, I think that that's just the other thing. It's I try and be open minded with things. I try and let people in where they can be in, and that's why it's not just I'm definitely more of a doer than a talker. I'm not much of really a talker, but I can talk, and I rather do things. But I'm also a great listener too. So if people ever like want to send me something or show me something, or they're people want to reach out or something, people can always do that. So that's just the thing. I always keep things open. It's always open table. It's like our channel. It's not about one thing. It's about, we've covered a lot of things and we'll continue to cover a lot of things, but it's always open table. It's just try and be, meet people wherever they're at or see what people got going on. So yeah, that's pretty much all I can really think about for right now. But yeah, maybe I'll think of something more to add. But yeah, definitely yeah, people want to hit me up or whatever, like I said, or can always hit me up and say hello.
Absolutely. That's awesome. So yeah, we will close out the show. Of course, there's always stuff to talk about in the headlines, and we're aware of all the overwhelming topics in the headlines, and I kind of alluded to it. Scandal this, scandal that, Epstein, Jim Carrey's a clone, Iran, Christy Nome. Oh, it's just a never-ending amount to choose from. Um, a lot of these things being reprisals from even as recent as this year, and still people don't get the joke and don't see the repetitiveness of the news cycle. But here's another one for you. Here's another one on the carousel of the news cycle. I'm sure we're all familiar with the Catholic Church and their tendencies, um, not just their not just the what they do in a dark room, in confessionals, but the different dark rooms. I'm sure uh, with the younger sheep of their flock. We'll put it that way. But yeah, just over the last week, what was this? I believe this is dated March 4th, and that's what I saw on a couple different ones. So I think the news kind of broke on March 4th, which is interesting, having to do with Catholic priests, because I believe priest, yeah, priests equals 34, which is interesting. But this hits the headlines. But another year, another Catholic Church story. And I'll kind of go over the basis of this. And like I said, this is kind of a preface to a different kind of issue, but it's worth noting that whenever there's overwhelming mass, I wouldn't say hysteria. There obviously was hysteria in certain times of our lives, most recently in 2020. But whenever there's this kind of hysteria, or people focused on the overwhelming grip the news has us on, or the news cycle, or these stories, there's always stuff that kind of slips through the cracks. And of course, these things can always be fabricated as well. I've dwelled on this thought as well, but I tend to believe that what we're told is that, I think there's a reason they don't ever straight up tell you the depths of depravity. You can find the depths of depravity, and it's really hard to live with. I think that's probably the hardest thing of being awake, is understanding how depraved the world really is, and just the depth of it, the amount of it. It's like, it's one thing for it to be really bad, but a small sect of really bad. No. Unfortunately, that is not the case. It is widespread. And so I tend to believe not only that this is going on, but that the stories that we get are dulling down the reality. So I'll lead off with that. But anyway, you can read about this. Happens in Providence, Rhode Island. Now, let's take a quick look for all you not who haven't, aren't three-time readers of the dictionary. Oops. There we go. The word Providence. Now listen to this. This is a story about thousands of molestation cases in Rhode Island at the Providence Catholic Church. What does Providence mean? God or nature as providing protective or spiritual care. You think those kids felt protected or had, care over their spirit? Like, look at how they pervert, their own, they create these havens as a way to pervert exactly what it is. So it's just, they'll create Providence Catholic Church, which I can go into a whole nother spiel about this church. Cause I mean, just freaking look at it. I'm sure. Yeah. I bet it was built in, 1530, all the people building these buildings back in the 1500s and in the United States. But anyway, that's another story. But I just thought it was, just funny enough to mention just one of the meanings of Providence. The other meaning kind of spoke to me specifically. Timely preparation for future eventualities is interesting. I'm going to keep that in mind moving forward. Just being the conspiracy nut I am, that seems like that's an odd description of for a word. So I'll look out for when you see Providence. Keep that in mind that they could be pointing to something in the future, a future eventuality. Anyway, so I just thought I'd bring that up just right off the bat, just because it's right there for you. But the story goes on to basically say that they knew about this, and do you know who else knew about this? Mr. Pope Francis. This story came out March 4th, 2026. Almost the exact same story came out in, I want to say 2023. Here, I should have had this pulled up. Providence, Rhode Island Catholic Church molestation. Let's see if I can get the secondary one. Might be tough, but if you guys do a little bit of digging, you'll see what I'm saying. Pope Francis visited the Rhode Island diocese, or whatever diocese were closest, to discuss this topic back in 2023, because a lot of these things were coming to a head. And what the Catholic Church decided to do, and this is going to kind of fuel the rant moving forward. There's two parts to the rant I want to make. One about technology moving forward and being able to research these kinds of things. That being kind of one of the examples right there, just it not showing both versions, it just showing the newest one. But you could that's fair, whatever. But the other one being that they're not beholden to the same system of laws as we are. This isn't the Vatican. This is Rhode Island. But if you go and read this story, it's talking about a whole lot of bishops and clergymen that got caught up in this scandal or in these molestation charges, who, rather than being tried as adults in the court of law like you would be, this isn't to say you shouldn't be. If you do something like this, you absolutely, you're destined, to haunt the prison, from underneath of it. You should be, there's a special there's a special punishment waiting for you. Unfortunately, their special punishment was quite a special punishment indeed. They just had to switch churches. They just covered for them and put them in different roles in different cities and different states, and sometimes different countries. So you're able to see kind of, and this sparked what it is too. It's like I was trying to do research not on this specific topic. This just popped up, and then it kind of brought me back to the topic I was on, because I was initially trying to find some concrete numbers on, not gematria numbers, but figures, historical figures on just the damage the Catholic Church has done over the years in certain areas. And it was just really muddled. And anywhere I tried to go, I kept finding nothing but Catholic Church or Catholic, like pro-Catholic sentimentality or sentiments. And I could not escape it. I could barely find a neutral comment, a neutral article, anything. It was all somehow worked its way into being pro-Catholic. No matter what you were looking up, you could be looking up the Crusades. Maybe at some point in time, the articles would read the Crusades were this evil thing. They don't anymore. What they will say is they're no match to what the Muslims did. They're no match to what Christians have done since then. It's no match to this other group. It's no match to the Holocaust. There won't be anything that's saying, yeah, man, that shit was wild. It's crazy. The Catholic Church, they got to, own up to that. No, it'll say, oh, the Catholic Church, the Pope disavowed it. The Pope said not that they shouldn't be doing those things. It's like, what? Okay, first of all, that's a skewed history as far as I'm concerned, because what I learned about the Crusades, which I have done my research on, in fact, we had an episode very early on talking about the Crusades, and we went through like each and every single one briefly. Of course, there's a lot to them, but there was like papal bulls about them. They were not disavowed. They were told to do it, but from the top down. So it's like nowadays they are changing history right before your eyes. And hopefully I can, put together if we, go further into this. But, that was kind of the secondary point I was trying to make too. It's hard to talk about one thing because that thing I would run into a roadblock, which leads into my second topic about this, this new wave of information and how, just good luck trying to dig your way out, especially with, 90+% of people not being, are headline addicts. So it's like, if you got all these headline surfers that will go to their job and espouse their knowledge because they perused the headlines that day and not even realizing they're getting clickbaited out of their socks, and spread the new knowledge. It's like new knowledge. It's this new digital knowledge. That's what everybody thinks they have. And that's what I was running into. I couldn't find any solid facts. Hard enough to find those. But point being is like neutral articles, neutral historical topic things. It was always leaning a certain way. And not even Reddit was any reprieve. And I'm not saying I thought Reddit was some bastion for free press or anything like that, but like, damn, I didn't know it was so Catholic. Jeez, it was insane. But it's what do you know? A story like this it is buried in the time of Trump and Epstein and all these other things. You'd think that this story would come exploding out and be, God forbid, funny enough, they, attach these pastors or clergymen to potentially, it's been to the island. I'm not saying that these things are true or that I believe them if they did that. I'm just saying like that it almost works into the validity of this story. The fact that they're not doing that. They could easily tabloid this story, but instead it's just buried. Meanwhile, it's of this similar scope from what year was it? There was the perceived biggest scandal of the Catholic Church, which I think most people of age are aware of what I'm speaking of because it was all over the news. It was the biggest story at that time. And there has been one other since then, which was just a few years ago. It was something like 880 million, funny enough, 880 million paid out to silence the people. That's just what it is. It's not. That led me to another question. What the fuck are they getting $880 million? And I'm not saying we don't know where it's coming from, but like this story, I almost feel like it's like if it's money laundering, that you could it's just the evil world we live in for them to be able to capitalize on the abuse of children in order to launder money, and not people won't question the laundering of money because they diddled kids to do it. It's just like it's this weird thing that the evil won't get caught because there's a other evil blocking it. And so anyway, it's just this multifaceted kind of rabbit hole I went down trying to just research really just the Crusades. I don't mean the Crusades. I was looking for historical references to, just how much damage the Catholic Church has done. Of course, the Crusades are going to come up, but what I found was practically nothing, a lot of revisionist history, and that's what you can expect to see. And there are no history books in school anymore. It's all online. I can promise you that. And I've seen the work. My kid's in online school right now. It is trash, guys. It's garbo. It's crazy garbo. What this next generation will come up thinking, because they don't all have awesome dads like I am to tell them otherwise, they will be thinking. The thing is, they won't be thinking, because the things they're trying to make them think aren't worth thinking about. I'm not saying my education coming up was worth thinking about either, but there was some basic stuff going on that I have implemented, and it doesn't mean it was worth what I had to go through. Definitely not. Everybody should be working their kids out to try to homeschool them and to do better for them. And that's another broad topic that maybe we can talk about next week is just like, what's it going to take for us to exodus from this fucking rat race and look at what the reality is? We're all humans. We deserve better. Our kids deserve way better. And the excuse making to make a buck to live in this system is getting out of control. And it's harder for me every single week. And my kids are getting older before my eyes, and before they're forced to, put up with what the world has afforded them, I would much rather be a part of the process of breaking it down so they don't have to. Anyway, that's the mini spiel within the larger spiel. But yeah, I mean, what are your guys' take? Has this happened to you? I'm sure it has. I mean, if you guys are researching things, especially specific things like I was, does it just get muddled? And try to document your experience as well, because what I was talking to Austin about is like we are the ones talking about it. The average person, if this does happen to them, they'll be like, oh, okay, they'll, like I said, they're either headline surfers or they'll go to the first article, take it as gospel, and they're moving on with their day. And that's for several different reasons. And I'm not sitting here trying to like put all the blame on these people or say that they're, evil, wrong for doing so. But, being conscious of it and seeing how quickly, let's just call it what it is, this beast is growing, it's no wonder that aside from, the technological aspects of civilization growing, right alongside it is the religious aspects as well. And I think they're always going to be side by side the way they are. I think they have been before, and I think they always will be. That the technology aspect of it will always breed the prophetic side of humans and their human nature and human history that has been written and whatever. Of course, we do know that they self-fulfill their prophecies. That is very clear, guys. I'm not sitting here saying that I subscribe to prophetic religions and things like that, but they do. The people that run this world, the Jesuit order, the Catholic Church, and their subsidiaries, they self-fulfill their prophecies. So they will do what they said they were going to do, and it will look like it happened because it was prophesied. It's just like, yeah, in a way, yes. You do that too. Hey, I'm going to make myself lunch every day of the week this week for work. And then, oh my God, guys, Friday came around and I was eating my 5th lunch. It was crazy. Oh my God. It's like, oh, bitch, you did it because you prophesied it and you self-fulfilled that prophecy. I know that's dumbing it down, but that is at a small micro level, that is what they're doing. Obviously, some extra steps were taken out in that example, but yeah. Anyway, I just thought I'd share my experience there, and I don't know if anyone's heard about this story because I haven't seen it covered one iota, and that's pretty strange. This is a large story, by the way. It's a big story. It says dozens of Catholic priests, but look at it, molested hundreds of Rhode Island victims over decades. And like I said, they dumb these things down. So you might as well say hundreds, thousands, 100 years, so centuries. But point being is it's just not being, extrapolated upon in the mainstream. And it's so weird. I just looked up at the time and as it was literally 20100. That it's just weird shit like that. Anyway. Yeah, let me know if you guys had heard about this story or have your own thoughts or decodes about it as well. I thought about decoding it after I kind of hit a brick wall looking for my information. I was like, okay, now I'm on this. But I think it was more prudent of me to talk about it in how I kind of talked about it. I know it was a little scattered. Like I said, I made a script beforehand. I just was like, okay, I have two branching topics that kind of like stem from this that I want to hit on. And it would be, and I might as well point this out because once again, I haven't seen a single person cover this on anything. Not hating on anyone either. I'm just saying like it's buried. You have people talking about an obscure person's like musician's death probably before they talked about this. So it's just weird how they're burying this. I'll let you take us out though.
Well, that's a good story right there. Yeah. And like you mentioned too, maybe next week, like what you're talking about with the talking about like the kids and the school and the future of, I guess, even humanity and this upcoming generation. Maybe that's something to talk about next week too. That getting kids out of school, getting them homeschooled, the future for the kids and the children and the world and stuff like that, and maybe the outlook on that. That'd be something. A lot to say on that, and it's interesting too because if we do have, like you said, if people do join next week, we do have other people on, or it's just us or whatever. There's so many, like you said, there's younger people in the community, people that are still. We haven't had anybody on here in their teens, but people in their 20s and stuff still. So, people who, when we grew up and we were in school, I mean, it wasn't anything like, even though we have some distance in us, in years and in the school and stuff, none of this stuff, the way it is now was like, I was supposed to be, class of 2013, graduating when I was 18 and I got held back in preschool. And, so that, I graduated in 2014, at 19. So,
would you not eat enough paste? Did you not meet your paste eating quota? How do you hold back a preschooler? Did you tumble the wrong way?
I just had I didn't like school. I didn't like government authority, and I knew I was being lied to. And I threw my stuff in we were doing like, it was something with like letters. I think we were writing it was our name, or we were tracing. I think we were like tracing the letters or whatever. Like everyone else, I was just sitting at the table. This is like back in like 1999 or 2000. This was a minute ago, but yeah, I was just sitting there, and then everyone else, like, and I just had like really bad like anxiety. Like I was like just like freaking out because I didn't want to be there and I didn't want to do it. And I just, I'm like, why do I have to come here every day? What is this? I mean, I was just living my life and now I got to start coming to this preschool. What is this? I mean, it doesn't even count. It's preschool. You don't have to come to preschool. You can just start in kindergarten. I'm like, this is just garbage. I threw my stuff. I walked over and I threw my stuff in the garbage. And then the teacher had everybody. Well, I threw my stuff in the garbage. Everybody was done. Like they finished way ahead of me. And I was the only person just sitting there by myself, just like sitting there, just like awkwardly. And everyone else was like they were done. They were like listening to the story. And I just got up and threw my stuff in the garbage. And then uh, the lady teacher, there was like I think there was one or two teachers there. It was like the Big Apple or it was the Big Apple preschool or Red Apple. I think it was Big Apple preschool or Red Apple. But she's like, because everyone was facing that way and listening to the story. She's like, "Well, you can sit there and you can face that way. You don't get to listen to the story. You don't get to be part of the story. You can just sit." So everyone's sitting there listening, like word of the story. And I'm just awkwardly just sitting there facing the other way, like pretending I'm like not hearing and like part of it. But yeah, I remember that, and there was some weird stuff too. I remember like one of those ladies or whoever it was, someone they knew or their husband maybe, or maybe it was their boyfriend or just someone related. I can't remember. I remember when they committed suicide. They like put a gun in their mouth and shot themselves or something. And like I remember like going to that funeral too. Like I was at that funeral and I remember like walking up to the casket and seeing the guy and stuff. This was a long time ago. This was like 1999, 2000. So I was young back then, but yeah, I can still remember all this stuff. And yeah, it's that was the whole mockery to it all too, because I would have started my first year of preschool supposed to be 99, 2000, and kindergarten was supposed to be 2000, 2001, and then I had preschool 99, 2000, and then 2000 to 2001 again because I got held back, and then that was when I started kindergarten. There was 2001, and then that's when 9/11 happened that week. And it was funny too because even my first day of kindergarten, I got on the bus and my bus was S5. And I didn't know where I was. I had my little sign and stuff, and I got on, and I didn't know where I was going or what I was. It was like preschool. It was just awkward. I wasn't like, I didn't know what was going on. No one told me or showed me anything. So I got on the bus and I went to school. I just walked. I just like didn't know where I was going. I had no clue. So I just walked into like one of the classrooms and just like sat there and like was like, okay, I'm here, whatever. And I was in the wrong classroom. I was supposed to be in Miss Visitors, or her name was like Huggarood or something, and it changed the Visitors or whatever. 'Cause she was like getting married or divorced or something. But I was supposed to be over there, and then I went to like Miss Galinsky's class or something. I can't remember. But then they end up calling my mom. They're like, "Yeah, your kid never came to school today." They're calling her like, what are you talking about? He got on the bus and everything." He's like, "No, he's not in school. He's not here." And I'm like, "Well, where is he?" And like, I guess that was I didn't know about that. And then the principal ended up coming into the room and finding me because I was like, I can't remember. I was like, we were like talking about like lunch and like, or are you having hot lunch or cold lunch? Did you bring your own lunch and like stuff like that? And then I remember the principal. I was probably in that class for like a couple hours and stuff, or a few hours, maybe an hour or two. And then like the principal came and stuff, and then came and got me and like brought me to the right place. And then I remember too, I had all my stuff in my hands. I think I had like my crayons or my marker or something. I remember as soon as I walked in the room, I just dropped it all over the floor. Just like everything, as soon as I walk in, I wasn't in the right room. I just walk in, I drop all my stuff on the floor as I walk in. It was just funny. It was a total mess. And then, yeah, and then that was the start of all that. And yeah, it's crazy how long ago that was. But yeah, I still remember all of that. Good old Swamico Elementary days with the, yeah, it's crazy because I was supposed to be out of there in 2005, and then because I got held back, I ended up getting out of there in 2006. But that's crazy. 20 years ago, I was supposed to be out of there 21 years ago. But and everyone said that to me too. Like, how do you get held back in preschool? Like, did you eat the blocks and play with the grapes? Is that what happened? It's like, yeah, it's just all the way to 2014, and just to think I've been out of school that long, or it's just so crazy. And just like the changes, and it's like I can't fathom what it's like to be. I can't believe it's been 12 years, and it's like, or going to be 12 years in May, and how much the world has just totally changed and how much school has changed. I mean, I can't fathom what it's like now. I can't, just the world was totally different when I was 10 years ago. When I was 21, it was 2016. I was a completely different world. Now look at where it is. So yeah, there's some great topic ideas, especially because like even if we do have King Richard on and Sebastian, whatever, obviously they'll know because they were a part of all that. We missed out on that, but they had to like deal with that and go through that and uh experience that, and then like the gay and the transgender stuff and all that stuff that wasn't there when we were there. And so it's like, yeah, I can't I just can't fathom how much things have changed. Literally it changed like as soon as I got out. So these younger people, they'll know because they have to deal with it or had to deal with it. So interesting to hear their stories.
That's a good idea, and I'll definitely reach out to them. And but yeah, this, if you made it this far in the video, guys, too. I mean, share whatever you guys want to share, or hit us up in the email. And if you want to come on and join the conversation, whether you have kids or you just want to go over your experience or your experience with your kids or your experience, just in school yourself, yeah, it seems like a decent plan for next episode, and we'll see what happens. But yeah, that's definitely something we can pencil in. Absolutely. And yeah, I had feel like that was a good episode. We got a lot more kind of introspective talking that we got done. A little less on the, I guess what's the word for it, technical side of things. We just recently we had. I almost want to like go and wrap that up into a different series, like that series that we did. We were going over just like, I don't know what to package it as a title, but it was just like human nature, I guess, or just whatever we want to call it. But we had a series where we were talking about something, each week that was branching off the last thing we talked about, and it was all in like I said, packaged up into one kind of overarching theme, but like sub themes each episode. And I feel like we haven't done a whole lot of philosophical ideas and talks since then, so that was good to get that get that out there. We'll rip one of those ones off. But yeah, thanks for hanging out with us, guys, and obviously the call to action still out there. Thank you for all of the comments and emails and everything that you do give us. If you're on the fence about hitting us up, don't be. There's literally, like I said, there's zero pressure. The only pressure is the pressure you're putting on yourself. And once you shed that, you're going to be so much happier. Like I said, it doesn't have to be some responsibility to do so. It's for you, and you'll know that it's better when you do it. So do it. Take it from me, kids. Anyway, yeah, thanks for hanging out with us, guys, and we hope to catch you guys next week. Enjoy your guys' week, and we'll see you then.
Peace.